Hello, welcome to another video. Today we're taking a trip on the Great Western Main Line from Bristol to London. Before we get underway, we'll just take a look at Bristol for a few seconds. Bristol Temple Meads is one of the few large stations so far that I've kind of tried to build an authentic layout for. I mentioned before how on some large stations, because of space considerations, I've left out some of the platforms that aren't in regular off-peak use, but I thought, hey, there's loads of space in Bristol. I'll try to build the authentic platform layout, at least more or less. But it does mean that most of the platforms are unused most of the time. We do have almost all of the timetabled services running into Bristol now. I think the only one that we don't yet have is the hourly service from Bristol to Manchester Piccadilly, the cross-country train. But nevertheless, I guess a lot of the platforms are only used during peak times. So we're going to be following this HST train, which is heading for London Paddington. We're going to take it only as far as Reading. At Reading we'll switch over to one of the stopping services to Paddington, just because there's a lot more detail to see on that part of the route, and going a bit slower through it rather than on this fast train will allow us to see it in a bit more detail. So we're just going through Bath, and the line is about to branch off to the south towards Trowbridge and Westbury, and that's where the trains to Southampton and Portsmouth go. And we're about to approach another junction as well, and that's the junction down to Melksham. Now, as things stand at the moment on this map, that branch is unused. So in real life there are only about 2 trains a day that use the Melksham branch to go from Swindon to Trowbridge and onwards to Southampton, and I don't think there's going to be a good way for me to integrate that into the map, since, to remind, I'm trying to simulate kind of a typical hourly off-peak timetable. So services that go just once or twice a day are not really going to be apt to be included. As such, I think that line will probably go unused unless I can think of something else to do with it. So we've now joined the main line proper at Swindon, and we'll be seeing not only trains to and from Bristol but also to South Wales, and occasional services to Cheltenham and Gloucester, like the one we just saw heading off to the west there. So the main line gets a lot busier here. This train doesn't stop between Swindon and Reading. It's one of the Bristol trains that goes straight through Didcot Parkway. Didcot is also where we will join up with the lines from Oxford, and where the line goes from being 2-track to 4-track, and that's because there's a fairly regular slow service over that part of the line as well. So in order to accommodate the express services and the slower services, we need to have 4 tracks. So as I say, we'll be following this train through to its next stopping point at Reading, at which point we'll be joining one of the slower services. So we're approaching Reading now. Now in real life, as we speak, Reading is currently undergoing a renovation of its station to create more platforms to accommodate the huge amount of traffic that goes through this station. I've helped myself to something more like the new layout than the old layout here, just because it proved to be very difficult to get everything to run smoothly with the old layout. So there are several platforms for the slow services, a dedicated platform for the cross-country services to reverse in, and so on and so forth. So we're on the half-hourly slow service from Reading to London Paddington now, and as I said before, this will allow us to see more of the detail on this part of the route. So one thing that the perceptive among you will probably have noticed is that many of the services on this map use more rolling stock than they might in real life. So for instance, all of these services to Reading and Oxford use doubled up 3-car units, whereas it's my guess that most of them will probably run with single units in real life. I guess there are a couple of reasons for this. One is that I'm not limited in the same way as First Great Western are with the number of units they can run. I can just generate as many as I like. The other is that as things stand, the amount of passengers that Simutrans generates on many routes needs the extra capacity. So another place you'd have noticed this was on the southwest lines, where all of the services to Weymouth and Southampton and so on and so forth use double-up units, where again lots of those would run singly, I think, in real life. Now the next version of Simutrans is going to somewhat reduce the passenger generation, so I think I'll be able to make things a little bit more realistic after that. I expect to be able to revise things so that we get more realistic formations of trains. So on this route, for instance, I'll switch to 3-car operation rather than 6-car for most of the services, etc. So we're approaching the outskirts of London now, and we've joined up with the Heathrow Express and Connect lines, so you'll be able to see them going through, as well as the faster HST services overtaking us. And we're about to cross under the London Underground, Ealing Broadway lines as well, so you get to see a lot of the operation of the Central London Railways coming into London this way. And we're about to arrive in Paddington, so thank you for watching this video, and I hope you'll tune in for another soon. Next up I'm planning a video of South Wales. We'll have a look at Swansea, Cardiff, and then go through to the southwest from there again. So again, thank you very much for watching.